The next 3 months are going to be pure, unadulterated, relentless, glazing, speculation, rumour stoking, and discussion about the impending SpaceX IPO. A crucial piece of which is the recently announced Terafab project, the collaboration between Tesla, SpaceX, and XAI. And I, for one, am all for it. In a recent video, I featured some comments from Karen of Fidelity, who back in 2015 invested in SpaceX. Wasn't the last time. Incredibly well informed on the subject. And today, Shaun Maguire from Sequoia, another SpaceX investor.
You recently wrote an article on this on X that went quite viral. Why is Terafab underrated? Why do you think it's so important?
Well, I think it's underrated because I think people don't think it's going to work.
Can confirm, I've seen a lot of skepticism. This won't work, it can't work, it's impossible, it'll never happen. What are they doing? They've never done chips before, you don't understand, this is really hard.
Like, I think a lot of people view it, and again, this is a systems level problem, and I'm just gonna shit on a lot of other investors for a second. It's been pretty wild for me as chips became all the rage again. To brag for a second, I've been obsessed with semiconductors since I was a little kid. I literally bought NVIDIA shares in the IPO in 1999. I was obsessed with semiconductor fabrication as a kid, got really deep into the chemicals processes that go into making wafers.
How to self-diagnose the TISM in one easy test. Have you been obsessed with semiconductors since you were a little kid?
If you think about the silicon industry from the mid-50s when it started to the mid-90s, the bottleneck, the hard thing was actually the chemical steps. It was not lithography. It's making ultra pure wafers, which require 20 plus chemical steps. And there's a whole industry that had to get built around that. And then it flipped to lithography, and EUV became probably the hardest single step in semiconductor manufacturing. But there's all these investors that 3 years ago had never done anything in hardware, had never thought about semiconductors, that are brand new and think that they're experts. And let me just say, I'm not trying to say I'm an expert. There's a lot I need to learn, but I've at least been paying attention to this field for a very long time. And I'm watching these people come in with what I'd call 8th grade level education on the industry, trying to make definitive statements around what the bottlenecks are, what's going to be hard. And they're basically just parroting each other.
Bro, shots fired here from Shaun. Absolutely ruthlessly roasting without any hesitation, I'll add. The chorus of midwits who've been explaining why this won't work, why it can't work, why they'll fail, why it would be so expensive to do this that it's simply not possible to deploy the capital and get it done. Now, Shaun's obviously referring to colleagues, those in his industry, venture capitalists, big money investors, these kind of folks, right? I've seen a similar type of feedback on X and in the YouTube comments, though, from people not with an 8th grade understanding of chip fabrication, semiconductors, not even a toddler's level understanding of these topics. No one is suggesting that the Terafab project will be easy, but many DMFs are proclaiming it's already doomed. It won't be successful, they'll fail, they'll never pull it off. Back to Shaun.
And it just reminds me a lot of when people were trying to assess the likelihood of reusable rockets working in, say, 2014, before it was actually working.
This is the story of Musk's professional life. Over the last few decades, guy sets audacious goals. Skeptics say, that will never work, that's impossible. Then eventually, it does work. The skeptics then quietly head over to the goalpost, crouch down, hopefully lifting with their knees so they don't injure their back. Pick up the goalposts, quietly move them somewhere else, ignore their previous failed prediction about the impossibility of this project, whether it's reusable rockets, FSD, you name it. Hope you forget about their previous prediction and then claim, well, that's okay because this new thing definitely won't work.
Or the likelihood of Starlink working when I invested in 2019, 2020, where everyone would tell me to my face it will not work. Or when people were saying that self-driving will never work. And it's now, especially with camera only approach, where Elon was a contrarian doing camera only rather than vision plus LiDAR. And it just, all these things fit the same pattern of people thinking superficially when they're brand new to a field and then having a strong kind of opinion on how things are going to work.
Shaun's absolutely spot on. The most relevant example for most viewers of this channel, Tesla investors, almost everyone watching, FSD, vision only. The shocking level of arrogance and hubris displayed by so-called experts, whether we're talking about academics, professors sharing their opinions about how vision only could not work, industry quote-unquote experts and or board members on LiDAR companies who may have just been hypothetically, potentially speaking Not necessarily what they believe, but just what they kind of needed to say for the best potential possible hypothetical outcome for the shares they were receiving as their involvement with this LiDAR company. Many of these so-called experts saying Tesla's never going to be successful with vision only. Don't you understand? That's why every other company is using LiDAR, radar, gator, sonar, smoke signals, and every other fucking sensor on Earth. The same chorus of midwits, all regurgitating the same ill-informed opinion. You need LiDAR. You need radar. You need every other sensor. What I found most remarkable at the time, and I said this in countless videos, is we have 1 billion plus examples of a dual camera system driving vehicles today relatively safely called humans. So we already have proof of concept. You have to have severe brain damage to be making statements in public claiming that you will never be successful developing vision-only autonomy, when at the time we already had in excess of 1 billion examples of a vision-only system doing that very job. I guess while we're on the subject of examples and Terafab being impossible, you do know there are companies today that actually produce semiconductors. This isn't vision-only autonomy. This isn't reusable rockets. Obviously, there's going to be some innovation in the process, but we already have examples of other companies successfully producing these technologies. The goal of Terafab, in short, is to just do what's already being done better, faster, and at a significantly larger scale.
And I think that on Terafab, I think people are assigning way too low of a probability that it will work. I personally feel confident that it will. Time frame, there's questions, but I've thought through all the different steps, and almost everyone, when you talk about Terafab, they're like, but what about EUV? And EUV is something that they first learned about in the last 18 months. And it's comical to me. And then in terms of why it matters, because for two reasons. One, when you're trying to build a giant company in hardware, it's usually supply chain bottlenecks that will kill you. Here's an example from early Starlink days. In 2020, when COVID happened, there were a bunch of supply chain bottlenecks in the early user terminal production line. And like that team, Elon and the amazing people at SpaceX that worked their freaking asses off, they decided instead of accepting a few month supply chain bottleneck, they would start making the user terminals themselves. And so they literally took a parking lot in Hawthorne and built a pressurized tent, like a giant pressurized tent, bought a bunch of old fab equipment, like used fab equipment, started making the user terminals in a tent to not be behind on the ramp. And like this is one example of probably 1,000 of supply chain issues that Elon has had to go through with his companies. And if you haven't been building with atoms, you don't understand how challenging and fickle the supply chains are. So the reason to me why Terafab matters is just one, it's owning the supply chain so that you have visibility and predictability into what your weak points are on your timelines. And two, as he said in his presentation, if we want to ramp, as Elon said, he will buy all the chips he can from NVIDIA and everyone else. But at the scale that he wants to operate, you're going to need more than 10x the output of the current supply chain. And so it just has to be in-house, even if it's hard.
Amazing. We got a lot more than one hot take. So thank you so much, Shaun.
Thank you. Peace. Thank you, Molly.
Shaun absolutely nailed it when he said that if you're trying to build a hardware company, especially at scale, supply chain bottlenecks are usually what will kill you. He then gave some examples during the scamdemic, SpaceX, taking matters into their own hands. We saw another example with Tesla, other automotive manufacturers, quote unquote, because Tesla is much more, simply stopped producing vehicles because they couldn't get certain chips in their cars. And Tesla said, fuck that shit, let's find a solution. And it continued producing at high volumes, which, due to the shortage of other options, caused a temporary surge in how much money Tesla needed to charge customers to buy their vehicles to keep wait times in check. So absurd, in fact, that Elon Musk on a Tesla earnings call described Tesla's current prices then as, quote, embarrassingly high. The reason they ended up with embarrassingly high vehicle prices is because all of the other companies producing vehicles are so fucking retarded and inept that when something hit their supply chains, they cried in the corner and said, oh, well, fuck, we just can't make the cars. And Tesla said, no, not good enough. Let's find a solution. And this really is what the Terafab project boils down to. It's about supply chain. Tesla, SpaceX, XAI taking matters into their own hands. They need to source enough chips for their own needs. They can't get them from third parties. And even if they could, there's still a risk there. Take matters into your own hands. Musk currently runs a handful of companies with world-class, industry-leading, best by miles, untouchable expertise building out, scaling, and managing global supply chains. This doesn't guarantee success, but having mastery over the most critical aspect of this project, the thing that, as Shaun points out, is usually what kills hardware projects, works massively in the favor of Terafab. But please, Mr. Part-Time Reddit Mod,
Should I call you Mister?
tell me more about why Terafab is doomed, Elon is retarded, and it's also just a stock pump. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.